What's up everybody, Thumpr Fishing. Okay, today's video is going to be a little bit different. All right, today's video we are going to be doing a new upgrade for the kayak, the new NK180 Pro. We've got this installed, but I'm going to go over the install of this on a Hobie. I have a 2022 Hobie Outback. Now the install should be pretty much similar for any kayak with some you know, minor tweaks for your kayak. So if you've got a Hobie Outback, then this will definitely help you. Either way, it's going to help you install. So let's get into it. All right, so first off, when I got all the packages, here they came. They came in 3 packages. Obviously the battery comes separate. The first thing that I wanted to do was go plug in this battery. You want to go plug it in with this new LoPro battery. The 24 volt is what I got. That goes with this NK180. We plug that in. I love these quick disconnects where you can plug it in, they click in, you push the little button, you can pull them out. It's going to be really nice of keeping those connections clean and free of water. So that's the first thing you want to do. You're going to need to buy the charger if you get the new LoPro battery. So you definitely want to make sure you get that charging and going. And it's got a little red light when it's charging, and then when it's all charged up, it's going to have a green light. So that's the first thing that I did, is I plugged in that battery, downloaded the app, which is really cool because it's got a really smart, you can monitor your battery, all those things just from your phone and the app. This battery, it's a 25.6 volt. It's 50 AH. The watt hours is 1,280 watt hours. Max continuous 50A. Cell type lithium ion phosphate, and the weight 22.6. That's pretty good for a 24 volt battery. So we've got that charging up. So now it's time to go unbox all the stuff. And I will tell you right now, if you check this out, all the stuff is labeled, it's all packaged. I loved how everything was already organized. They even threw in the tools and everything like that for you to use. You don't need to be a crazy DIYer to put this together. I did run into one hiccup, not on Newport's side, but it was a problem with the more so on Hobie's side actually. So, but here's the plus side is, you know, have you ever tried to contact Hobie? Yeah, that's a chore in itself. But I was able to contact Newport Motors extremely well. I'll put the phone number to their customer support right here. I was able to get someone within 5 minutes and kind of just touch base with me on kind of how I should approach it. And we will touch base on what that problem was a little bit later in the video. It's in regards to the mount on where it's supposed to screw into the Hobie kayak. So we're going to touch base on that too. Was just a quick little fix, just added a little extra DIY, nothing too crazy that you guys can't do either. So let's get into it. All right guys, so we are unboxing this, and like I said, everything is already in there. I watched a bunch of install videos online, so I ended up buying a few little things here and there that I knew I was going to need, like a Yakattack universal mount for the throttle, and some of these small little things like that. I will put an Amazon affiliate link in the link if you're looking to get those. If you use my link, that's just another way of saying thanks for the video or supporting my channel. But I will put the links to some of these Amazon products in the description, so definitely go check it out. I also bought a pulley system and rope, but turns out I don't actually need that. It's already installed in there. Another thing that I bought is some eye bolts for the rails to run the lines, make it nice and neat. And then I did buy 2 Yakattack eye bolts, and the reason for that is those eye bolts are not connected. So I'll give a shout out to Thumpr Times Outdoors. I watched his video, and what he did is he kind of spread those eye bolts out for your handles, your pull-up lever and your reverse lever, and we'll touch base on that when we install that. But those were 2 things that I did order before my stuff came, and that was the eye bolts, the Yakattack eye bolts, and then just the standard full circle eye bolts. and then the Yakattack universal mount. And of course we're going to touch base on the install of that, but those are two things that I did order, that I did need, or that I did use. So if you're ordering this and you're looking at mounting that throttle on like a nice Yakattack mount, make sure you order one of those. And then this is a nice way to keep your pull levers nice and neat with these Yakattack eye bolts. So definitely check those out if that's the route that you want to go. All right, well, the next step that I did is before you mount this mount onto the kayak, for the Hobie Outback, mine's a 2022, you had these black little cover points and you had 4 holes on the kayak, and basically what you need to do is pop those out. Now you want to try and not damage the surrounding plastic to your kayak, but as far as these little black plugs, they're replaceable, they're cheap, so don't worry so much about damaging those when you're pulling them out. I used a small knife to kind of dig in there and kind of go around each corner and just pop it up little by little. They can be a little difficult to pull out, but they do come out. Yeah. So then the next step is trying to line up the mount. Now here's where I encountered a small problem. Now, like some kayaks, more so, especially this Hobie Outback, is you have those 4 screw points. So those are there so you can readily attach a power pole, or in this case my Newport motor. Now the problem that I had is trying to line up these this mount with the holes, is it was way off. I managed to get 3 bolts in really difficultly, and then the thing was kind of angled to the side, so that was no good. But if I wanted it straight, the drill holes that Hobie had put into this were completely off, so I didn't know what to do. So I contacted Newport Vessels, and they said that they have encountered this problem, so this is something that you might encounter. They were saying that this could be due to when Hobie is making the molds, when they are cooling it or heating it or something like that, that some of those holes can drift, or it could be that the plastic has warped over time on my kayak and those holes have drifted. But I don't put a lot of weight or pressure or anything on this back end, so I don't think it's been a warping. I think it's probably something to do when Hobie pre-drilled these and then cured, or whatever they do with the kayak, but these were totally off. So Newport recommended what I can do is widen the holes on this bracket, and that way, and then I can kind of get it to fit. But I didn't want to just drill one big hole. I didn't want to, compromise the mount at all. And you can use a drill to kind of widen that hole a little bit, but the way I looked at it is, I might go too far, because here's the thing, when you're drilling metal and stuff like that, there's no going back. So I always like to approach it as slow and steady by hand. So I didn't use a drill bit. What I ended up doing is I went and I grabbed a metal file, a round metal file. And my thinking is I lined it up to where I kind of wanted, and I looked at each hole, and I basically shaved off a little bit on the edges on the holes on each one. And that was that the one hole that was way off, I wouldn't have to really change the size of it. If I just gradually kind of shaved off the edges on each hole, that last third one I won't have to shave off or grind off as much. So that's what I did, is I kind of widened the holes slightly on the upper 2 and then a little bit more on the bottom, and then that last third one I kind of did a lot more grinding and widened it up. And then what I did is I ended up getting some bigger washers just to make sure it's sitting in there nice and easy. But that only, caused me another maybe 30 minutes of install once I figured out what it was. Newport was very easily to get a hold of. They said, hey, worst case scenario, you damage this mount. They do sell just this mount in itself. So that's what I did, is I just kind of grinded or filed those holes a little bit bigger until they fit, added a larger washer on top just to make sure it's not going to slip up or anything like that. And then what I like to do is I throw a little bit of that, you know, thread seal, Loctite type stuff on the screw. You don't want to squirt that in the hole. You just want to put just a very little bit on the actual screw itself. But yeah, that's a problem that you might encounter on any kayak that has these pre-drilled holes, you know, plastic moves. We got a plane going by, hang on a second. But yeah, so if you encounter that problem, it's not the end of the world, it's definitely fixable. And using that round file that I had, I was very easily able to just kind of slowly widen up those little holes where it needed to be. And it's in there, it's nice and sturdy, and it works, it pulls up, it's sturdy, it's not wiggling. So it's not the end of the world. It's a super easy fix if you guys want to, if you encounter this problem where your holes are a little bit off. It is very easily fixable. All right, well, now that you got that mount in, the next step is to mount the motor on, which is super easy. You're gonna place that motor in here, and you're gonna line up these holes, and everything is labeled, all the packages. So you're gonna find that package that's got your, basically your motor pin. It's got little cotter pins at both ends. You're gonna run that through, screw it back on, and then put that little pin back in. And bada boom, bada bing, the motor is now mounted. Now the next step is you're gonna want to run your lines. Well, actually, first you want to put on the little, it says like NK180 Pro, it's a little lever, and that's going to be your pull lever that you're going to attach the carabiner to pull up. So what you're going to want to do is slide that into here, and then what you're going to do is you're going to screw that in and tighten it. Now, I didn't tighten it all the way at first because I wanted to make sure that I adjust the depth of the motor to where I wanted it. And then you want to tighten it back down with that piece in there. It comes with everything you need to run foot steering. Now, I'm not going to be using the foot steering. I'm going to be using the factory rudder on the kayak. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to be putting in this little bolt. It's got a little Allen tip to it. You're going to put this in, and that's your steering lock. That's going to keep this straight. You want to make sure the motor's straight, run that in there, tighten that down in there, and that's going to keep this motor from turning. Now, before you tighten everything in, of course, you want to make sure everything is pointing nice and straight. You don't want this angled or anything like that. The next one that you want to mess with is the motor mount trim pin. Now, this is a real long pin. It's got little rings at the end. Now, there is 4 holes down at the bottom for your trim. Now, this is, you can kind of put it at any one, but for this kayak, from what the guys were saying, is they like to put it on the second hole. And the reason being for that is it kicked back just a little bit. It puts less pressure on that plastic. Because that's part of the problem, is you just want to decrease the amount of you know, pull or leverage or strain on the plastic and where this mount meets the plastic of the kayak. So kicking it back just a little bit decreases the amount of that leverage or strain on the plastic. So we're going to give that a shot to see how we like it. Other guys that have had Hobie Outbacks, they like that second point. So that's where we're going to start off. Of course, some of these things might change once I get out on the water, but you know, for just getting it set up, this is where we're going to keep it. So that's where I put that one. You might want to do a little research on your kayak, what guys recommend, what trim setting and all that. So, well, now I think I'm going to mess around a little bit with the throttle mount here. Now, as I mentioned before, I ordered the Yakattack universal throttle mount. Now, I don't know if I ordered the wrong one or I'm just missing something, but it comes horizontally. That black plate that you're going to mount it to comes horizontally, and if you unscrew it and try and screw it vertically the way I wanted it, then it wouldn't bend the right way, and the screw holes don't line up. So yeah, I had to put it in horizontally. I tried initially to mount it vertically, but it just wasn't working for me on this universal mount. So we installed it just like it comes with that little black mount that you mount it to horizontally. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna measure out where those two little holes are on the back of the throttle. And then you're gonna just pre-drill those holes into that black plastic on the universal mount. And then I believe, let's see here, let me just double check. The screw holes that you're gonna want are gonna be the screws that screw into the back of that throttle mount are gonna be metric M4, excuse me, metric M4 screws. So you're gonna wanna get a metric M4 screw, 2 of them, to be able to mount that onto that black piece on the Yakattack universal mount. But once we had the holes pre-drilled, I think in my video you see me trying to mount it vertically. It looked nice, that's the way I wanted it, but I couldn't bend it the way I wanted it and where I wanted it. So we ended up redoing that a little bit. And yeah, I'll show you guys here in a little bit later on how I eventually did that, or how it looks anyway. But that was another one that I did. So, all right guys, the next step is running these lines. Okay, now like I said before, it comes with everything you need, the carabiners, the pulleys, everything. So the first step was take the end of your green. I put it in here, clipped into the very front one. Then you're gonna run it up here. You're gonna run that green cord through this pulley. I attach this pulley to this carabiner and put it onto here. Now you're gonna run this down through this little eye bolt here. Now there's where these new little eye bolts that I got, just to make it nice and neat. You know, it could run through here, but sometimes I like to store a little pack or tackle here. So put these little eye bolts here, run it through here. Now what I got is, we got our pulley, okay? So when you're cutting the length of this though, what you wanna make sure that you do is you wanna pull it up in the stowed position before you cut it, okay? Because look, when I pull this up, now this is where these Yakattack ones come into place, all right? I put these in a vise and used some heavy duty pliers, and I bent this open, because now look, I pull this up and I'm able to put that in there like that, right? Now, if I come back here, look, it's all stowed up and perfect, okay? You wanna make sure when you cut the length of this and before you tie the knot, you wanna make sure it's up in that stowed position. Now, when I wanna drop the motor, all I need to do is pull that out, set that here, the motor is down and in. Now the next one is your reverse cable. I'm not sure how often I'll use this reverse cable, but you're gonna attach this here. And what this does is when you pull it, see that little metal clip down there? That's gonna make it to when you go in reverse, the engine doesn't kick back the other way. Now you're gonna run that, attach the carabiner to here, run it through here. Again, I ran some eye bolts here and make it look nice and neat. And then we're gonna run it up to the front here. Now, right now I have it stowed away down here, but just stowed in there. Now, if I wanna go reverse, what I'll do is I'll pull this and put that in there. And now what happens is come back here and look, that little piece is now pulled tight. So if I'm not going reverse or anything, this is what I got. So now I'll probably just stow this underneath here like this. Oops. We'll probably just keep that under there underneath this handle. So just like that. So that is kind of how I rigged up the pulleys and everything like that. All right, here's a closer look at how I rigged up this mount for the throttle. I got it right next to my seat like this. As you can see, I don't have the mount vertical. I don't know if it's just me, I just couldn't figure out how to have it vertical with it bending this way. I've tried taking the screws out of this right in here and changing this and turning it, and the holes don't line up. So we kind of had to just do it like this. I might change that later, I'm not too sure, but for now, this is how we got it. Now you're gonna attach your throttle control or your wire there, and then I kind of coiled up the extra cord is nice and neat right here. Ran that through here, and then that's going to attach right here. Now we got power. You got your kill switch, you know, in the water, but look at that, we got power. Okay, so everything is good to go. Now let me just touch base on how I take this down and where I like to store it. Oh, before I go, this is where I put the battery. Let's unclip this here, my seat. I put my battery, that's the nice thing about this LoPro battery, right underneath the seat, clipped in, perfect. Doesn't come out the front of the seat very much at all. I can kind of push this back there a little bit more too, actually. Still have a little bit of room if you want to put like a rag or, you know, a couple of things of plastics. You got some room on the sides, but the low profile, I mean, I could put this in the back too, underneath my crate. If you got a Yakattack crate, especially the 16x16, it actually fits inside of there. So that might be an option that I do later on. But for now, I think we're gonna put it under our seat. And then of course, hook it up, run that power cable, plug her in. All right, now obviously I'm not going to transport this thing with the motor on. Again, super easy. You're going to take this little cotter pin out, you're going to unscrew this, take the motor out, unclip all your little pulley systems. And what I like to do is I will take this top pulley or a carabiner, I'll clip it back to the mount. Same with the reverse pulley, I'll clip it back to the mount. And then what I'll do is I will, instead of unrunning all these cords, what I did was I will basically run these cords back through these holes over here, and then I've got some Velcro straps type deals that I basically will wrap up those coils nice and neat and Velcro them into position here so they're not blowing out or anything like that. And then when I get to where I want to be, I can just unvelcro it, rerun it, plug it in, and we're set to go. That's just a way, I mean, I don't want cords blowing around or, you know, all over the place. So I just got these little Velcro little straps, and what I do is I run it back here, kind of loop them up, Velcro them together, and then Velcro them to something over here so they're stowed nice and easy. And that's for the reverse and the motor pulley. But that way's when I get to where I need to go, I just need to unvelcro those, rerun them to the front to where I have them placed when it's under operation, and we're set, you know, nice and easy. I'm definitely liking the simplicity of the setup. The install, very easy. The manual, you don't really even need the manual. It's pretty self-explanatory. Plus you got all the YouTube videos as well. But I love the fact that everything came labeled. I was able to get a hold of customer support extremely easy. There's tons of videos, and you know, part of the reason why I went with this kayak motor here is that I do believe that Newport is kind of leading the charge. They're going to be a little bit more pricey compared to some of your other options, but I just feel you're getting better quality for this. And since they're kind of leading the charge when it comes to motorizing these small vessels, kayaks, and things like that, a lot of kayak companies, as they come out with stuff, they're going to be able to fit this on. So if I ever decide to upgrade to a different kayak or a different brand, I will easily be able to take this motor and this setup and basically apply it to whatever I go to. So that's the nice thing about this. If you do spend the money on it, it doesn't matter which kayak you go into later, you'll be able to definitely get the best out of it. When you actually think about what this motor is, it is a brushless motor. So you know, usually these brushless motors, you're looking at a couple grand easy. So the fact that this one's under $1,000 for the motor, a brushless motor, is really good. Actually, you know what? Let's go over a little bit of the motor stats, just for you guys to know. It's got some amazing stats. All right, so I pulled it up here just so I don't miss some key points here. So this NK180 Pro, it is a 65-pound thrust, or a 1.8 horsepower equivalent. The shaft length is 21.7. The weight of the motor itself is 14.3 pounds. pretty light for, you know, especially a brushless motor. And that's what you want when you got these kayaks. You want something that's gonna be a little bit light. And of course, this motor runs on a 24 volt. It comes with all the tools you need. And now I'm gonna take all those little tools for this and replacing the prop and tightening everything. I'm gonna put those in a small little airtight bag, and we're gonna keep those on the kayak when we have the motor, because you know me, I like to have everything on me when I'm out in the water, because you just never know what you're gonna whatever is gonna happen. And when you carry the right essentials for an emergency or a worst case scenario, you'll never use it. So more than likely those tools will sit in the kayak every time I go out and I'll never use it. But the day that you don't bring those tools or those safety equipments or those things for worst case scenarios is the day that you're gonna need it. So definitely make sure that everything you need to change these, tighten it, adjust it, that you carry those tools with you on the kayak. That's just my little pointer for the day. But as far as everything, guys, super, like I was saying, super easy install, very slick looking. The motor's light, super easy to take on and off. And that was my biggest thing, was I love the simplicity of kayak fishing. Sometimes I like to be able just to kind of show up at a spot, set things up, kind of go around. And with this, with the cords already ran, everything like that, all I need to do is throw this motor on, hook up the cables, run it up, put the battery underneath the seat, clip, 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 and we're good to go. I mean, it's that simple, guys. And so with all that said too, I am part of their ambassador program. So the really cool thing about that is I will put links into the description if you guys are looking at the battery or the motor or it as a kit. And if you use my affiliate links, I do get a small cut from that. So that's just a way of saying thank you or supporting my channel. So if you're definitely thinking about getting something like this, I highly encourage you guys to use my affiliate links. And to add a cherry on top is I do have a discount code that should save you shipping. Well, currently they do change the discount codes that I get sometimes. So if that shipping discount code is not working for you, you can always shoot me a message at thumprfishing@gmail.com or shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram at thumprfishing, and I can give you an updated code. You know, sometimes it's 10%, maybe more, or save shipping. The shipping adds up, I'll tell you that. So if you're thinking about getting one, definitely think about my affiliate links, and don't forget to put in the code so you can save some money. Anywhere you can save money these days is a plus. So I think that's gonna do it, guys. I know this is one of the first bigger install videos I've done, so I think I'm a little bit all over the place. I've had a lot of stuff going on, so I hope this video kind of helps you guys, or if you're maybe interested in maybe going this route or upgrading whatever you have, that this helps you see the simplicity of it, how easy it is to attach onto whatever vessel you have, just how sleek it is, how lightweight, how easy it is to set up and take down when you're fishing. The last thing you want is a bunch more steps. So overall, my first impressions of just the install and everything is I'm highly impressed. There wasn't a lot of trying to figure things out, and like I said, if you do, you can get a hold of Newport really easily. So the next step is later this week, hopefully I can get this out there and we'll actually test it on the water and do an on the water review. So don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, because I will be going on the water with this, testing it, seeing how loud it is, what kind of speed I can get, you know, how's the track, all that stuff. We're gonna test it out and we're gonna put this thing through the ringer, and I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a game changer, and it's gonna get us to some of those spots that were a little bit out of reach, or those days where my hips are fire and I can't get back to the range or to the launch. This is gonna help me get there. There's some times where I drift with the current and I go way too far out, and I gotta leave a good hour or so from the fishing spot just to make sure I have enough time to get back to the launch. With this, it's gonna increase my fishing time at my fishing spot, knowing that I can get back to where I need to be pretty quickly. So we'll see we'll see how this runs on the water, everybody. I'm really excited to get it out, but so far everything is good. I've got everything placed the way I want it. I'm sure I'll do a little bit of minor tweaking, so stay tuned for the actual on the water test. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, everybody. Tight lines. Peace.